Tonight, please let the heavy weight fall from your shoulders and neck. Unclench the fists that have been tight all day, and for now, throw all those trivial worries turning over and over in your mind into the wind beyond the mountains. We will follow the countercurrent of feng shui through nearly 100 years of dust and smoke, returning to the depths of the Qinling Mountains in the 23rd year of the Republic of China, to the hollow hidden in the folds of the mountains at the far end of Baolongyu. At this moment, you are the guardian of this old forest, stretching for 100 li high. You are the sole master of this old adobe house. Your ancestors have been rooted in these mountains for 4 generations. In the late Qing, the authorities issued your family a forest protection permit. After the Republic was founded, the Forestry Reclamation Office replaced it with a new certificate. The pines and cypresses covering the mountains, the chestnut trees, the medicinal herbs along the salt flats, and the wild creatures in the forest are all old companions living in symbiosis with you. Outside the window, a blizzard that the mountain people have been talking about for half a month is now pressing down into the hollow along the main ridge of the Qinling Mountains. The lead-gray clouds hang so low they almost touch the mountain peaks. The wind carries bone-piercing moisture in less than 3 double hours. Snow will fill the sky and seal every narrow path out of the mountains, turning this old house hidden in the embrace of the mountains into a white island cut off from the world. But none of this is frightening. On the contrary, it means complete relaxation, an absolute peace, undisturbed by anyone. On this long winter night that seems to have no end, you will seal every crack in the old house with your own hands. Stoke the fire pit until it is hot enough to warm the whole room, and set out on the kang table the cured pork stored up through half the winter, the freshly hunted game, and the corn liquor brewed over an entire year. As wind and snow beat against the earthen walls, you will enjoy the abundance and ease that belong only to a Qinling mountain guardian. Our story begins in the early morning, beneath that suffocating ash-gray sky. At dawn, you pull open the iron-clad elmwood door by a crack no wider than a palm. The icy mountain wind slips straight through the gap, scraping your cheeks numb and freezing even the exposed rims of your ears until they ache. The world outside has been utterly transformed by last night's hard frost. Every clod of earth in the yard is wrapped in a bright, crystalline shell of ice, which cracks sharply underfoot. In the corner of the yard stands an old walnut tree, so thick 3 people could not encircle it. Its leafless branches, wrapped in frost, look like white jade hairpins, gleaming coldly in the gray dawn. In the distance, the rolling ridges of the Qinling Mountains, their deep, bare rock, dark green pine forests, and withered yellow thickets are all covered with a translucent layer of white. Like a long landscape scroll, washed once over in pale ink by some painter, even its outlines softened. Unlike usual, you do not shoulder your firewood knife and back basket before daybreak and head into the mountains. Instead, you lean sideways against the doorframe, tighten the collar of your patched cotton-padded jacket, and draw in a deep breath of cold mountain air. Deep in it are the scents of pine branches, frozen earth, withered grass, and a faint medicinal chill, driving straight through your nose into your lungs, with the fierce quality unique to a Qinling winter. It makes you cough lightly twice, yet it also clears the murk from your mind in an instant. Even the golden pheasant perched on the opposite ridge becomes sharp enough for you to count the black and yellow markings on its tail feathers. This is Baolongyu, in the heart of the Qinling Mountains. It is different from the Guanzhong Plain beyond the mountains, where winter leaves only bare yellow earth. Deep in the Qinling Mountains, an unmeltable dark green always remains. Huashan pines, Chinese pines, and cypresses still carry their green even in the bitter cold of the 9th 9-day period. When the wind blows, the roar of pines rolls over the ridges like muffled thunder, circling several times through the valley before finally dispersing. The cold here is dry cold, a hard cold that can freeze through the seams of a person's bones. It is unlike the damp chill south of the mountains, which silently seeps into the bones. Yet it is precisely this cold that urges mountain people to make their winter days around the stove even more particular than those of landlords beyond the mountains. You lower your head and look by your feet. Your family's old yellow dog, called Huanghu, has buried its head beneath its belly, tucked all four paws in tightly, and curled up in the pile of straw beside the stove, showing only one drooping ear. It has followed you through the mountains for nearly 6 years and is your most capable helper when you patrol the forest. On ordinary days before dawn, it paws at the door, eager to go out with you. It can chase rabbits and golden pheasants madly for an entire day, and even wild boars give it a wide berth. But today, it is too lazy even to lift its eyelids. Only the tip of its ear twitches, which counts as greeting you. Dogs are the most spiritually sensitive things in the mountains. It has long since smelled the scent of snow in the wind and is now calmly saving its warmth, waiting to endure with you this heavy snow that may last for several days. You stretch out your hand and catch a frost flower falling from a walnut branch. It lands hard in your palm, cold enough to bite, and in barely 2 seconds melts into a puddle of chill water. The wind carries a faint earthy smell and the heavy stuffiness of condensing moisture. This is the sign that heavy snow is coming in the mountains. There is no mistaking it. The old people passed down a saying, "Hard frost shows clear weather. Snow and rain come before the wind." Today the frost is hard as iron, and the wind carries heavy, sinking moisture. This snow will not be small. It will fall for at least 3 days and 3 nights, and it may seal the mountains for half a month. For you, a mountain guardian, once this heavy snow arrives, the work of patrolling the forest will completely stop. You will no longer have to guard against tenants stealing pine and cypress timber, nor against poachers setting extinction snares, nor search all over the mountains for cattle lost from villages beyond the hills. At last, with full justification, you can curl up inside the house and spend a few lazy days eating, sleeping, and sleeping after eating. You tighten the belt of your cotton-padded jacket, turn around, and take from behind the door the wattle-back basket you have used for more than 10 years. You wove it yourself in spring from mountain-grown wattle. It is dense and sturdy, and it will not fall apart even when loaded with 100 gin or more. You tuck the polished firewood knife at your waist. While the snow has not yet begun, you must hurry to Ziwu town beyond the mountains and stock up on everything you will need for the next half-month. The mountain path underfoot is one your ancestors have trodden for more than 100 years. The frozen earth is hard as bluestone. The soles of your boots step on frost-covered withered grass with crisp cracking sounds, carrying far through the silent valley. You follow the path downward and circle around to the shady chestnut grove, where the 5-foot snares you set 3 days ago are hidden. This is a craft passed down through generations of Qinling Mountain people. Choosing wrist-thick young Qingyang wood, the toughest kind of wood, bending it down and burying it in the soil. Even if it is kept under tension for half a month, it will not snap. Then one twists the strongest old ox tendon into cord. This cord fears neither damp nor frost, cannot be worn through, and cannot be bitten apart. Made into a slipknot and hidden beneath fallen leaves, it is held in place by a tendon strip as thin as a stalk. This is what mountain hunters call the trigger stick. The moment a wild animal's hoof touches the stick, the bent Qingyang wood springs up instantly and can hoist a wild animal weighing dozens of gin into midair, leaving it unable to struggle free. Sure enough, Just as you enter the grove, you see that the chestnut tree farthest inside has sprung upright. A plump tufted deer is hanging firmly in midair by one hind leg. A layer of white frost covers its brown fur. Its eyes are still open, but its body has already gone stiff. Only a little residual warmth remains beneath the hide. Clearly, it was caught not long ago. Your heart brightens. This is a fine thing. Tufted deer meat is very tender, without the slightest gamey smell. Its fibers are as fine as cotton thread, and it is 10 times more fragrant than wild boar. This intact deer hide, once properly cured, can be taken to town and exchanged for half a sack of good white flour. It can also be used to sew a warm fur lining around the worn uppers of your cotton boots, so that when you patrol the mountains in winter, you will no longer fear the cold wind drilling into your shoes. You carefully take the deer down, bind it tightly with rattan strips, and place it at the very bottom of your back basket. Then you check the remaining 4 snares. All are intact and have not been damaged by frost. You adjust the positions of the trigger sticks again, cover them back with fallen leaves just as before, and wait to come back after the snow to see whether there is any new harvest. After finishing this, you do not rush away. Instead, you turn and walk to the old Chinese pine in the middle of the grove. A tree several hundred years old. It would take 2 adults to encircle it. Its bark is cracked like dragon scales, and its branches stretch far out like a giant open umbrella. It is the king of this forest, and also the place where the mountain god honored by the mountain people is believed to rest. From the cloth bundle in your chest, you take out 2 wheat flour buns freshly steamed that morning, and a handful of roasted chestnuts. All things you usually cannot bear to eat. You gently place them on the smooth blue stone slab beneath the roots, polished by mountain spring water. You say nothing, you simply bow solemnly to the old pine. This is the unspoken understanding between you and the Qinling Mountains. The old people say, enter the mountains with 1 bowl of rice, leave the mountains with a sack of goods. Everything eaten and used is granted by the mountain god. On days when the weather is about to change and the mountains are about to close, one must make an offering to the mountain god, praying for safety and smooth passage, and praying that all the living creatures in the mountains can endure the winter. After doing all this, you clap the dirt from your hands, as if you have completed something of the greatest importance, and your heart feels very steady. You dare not delay too long. You follow the mountain path downward, through the old forest under your care. On the trunks of the oil pines by the roadside, there are still marks your father carved with a chisel years ago. A crooked character, Li. That is your family surname, and also the proof of this forest's guardianship. On ordinary days, you must patrol 3 times a day, guarding against tenants who secretly cut pine and cypress. These old pines and cypresses are beams for repairing plank roads and building official houses. Every tree has been registered by the authorities. If even one is lost, you, the mountain guardian, must bear responsibility. You also have to guard against poachers who set extinction snares. They do not even spare pregnant females, and they are the people mountain folk hate most. Then there are people from villages beyond the mountains who come to dig medicinal herbs, targeting wild gastrodia and Qinling near cliff edges. Regardless of size, they dig everything out and take it all away, cutting off next year's livelihood. But today, the forest is frighteningly quiet. There are hardly even bird calls, only the sound of wind scraping through pine branches. Clearly, even the thieves know heavy snow is coming and dare not enter the mountains. The news has already spread in the town outside the mountains. This year's harvest is poor. Western Guangdong has suffered drought, and the grain harvest is less than 30% of normal. Prices have risen sharply. 1 jin of white flour costs 3 copper coins. 1 jin of salt costs 5 copper coins, and even firewood and charcoal, usually worth little, have doubled in price. You look up at the sky. The lead-gray clouds press lower and lower, almost touching the peaks. Even the distant ridges have become blurred. Your steps unconsciously quicken. As a mountain guardian, you lack no firewood or charcoal. The whole mountain is full of them. But if heavy snow seals the mountains, salt, foreign matches, lamp kerosene, and the coarse grain for huanghu, these things transported from outside will truly become priceless. When you reach the mountain spring halfway down, you stop. Out of habit, you pull the firewood knife from your waist and gently tap the main water pipe with the back of the blade. Dong, dong, dong. The crisp hollow sound travels far along the pipe. You breathe a sigh of relief. That sound means the pipe is empty enough and the water is flowing smoothly. It has not frozen. You replace this main pipe in spring. It runs from the mountain spring rock all the way to the water jar in your yard. A full half-li. It is made entirely of arm-thick sections of bamboo joined one by one. The joints are wrapped tightly with hemp thread and coated with pine resin to keep out water. If the water in this pipe freezes, not only will your house lose water, but the swelling ice can split the pipe outright. Once heavy snow seals the mountains, you will not be able to replace it, even if you want to. For you, a mountain guardian, protecting this water route is the same as guarding this forest, a survival instinct engraved into your bones. After confirming the waterway is fine, the last stone in your heart settles. Your steps become lighter. The tufted deer in the back basket sways gently with your stride, bumping against your back. That is solid harvest, the most reliable confidence of mountain people. When you pass through the densest cold mountain forest, the surroundings are eerily quiet. Even the wind has stopped. Only your footsteps on fallen leaves echo through the woods. Suddenly, from a dozen paces ahead comes the crisp sound of a dry branch being stepped on and snap. Crack. In the silent forest, it is especially clear. You stop instantly. By instinct, you grip the firewood knife at your waist and hold your breath, staring fixedly at the thicket ahead, not daring to breathe loudly. Deep in the Qinling Mountains, there are all kinds of wild animals. Wild boars, black bears, leopards. Any of them may come out to forage before snow. You cannot be careless. After a moment, a gray-black figure walks out of the thicket and stands in the clearing among the trees. It is an adult takin, what mountain people call a four unlike. It has 2 curved black horns on its head, and the fur on its body is thick as felt, covered with a layer of white frost. It is lowering its head to nibble moss from the ground. It has clearly noticed you as well. It suddenly raises its head, its amber eyes staring straight at you. 2 clouds of white vapor burst from its nostrils, yet it does not run, nor does it take an attacking posture. It simply stands there quietly, gazing at you. You and it remain like this, separated by a dozen paces, looking silently at one another. Today is the 12th day of the 11th lunar month, 9 days before the winter solstice. It is what mountain people call a day when yin and yang meet. The old people say that on this day, the wild creatures in the mountains and human beings are equal. All are children of the great mountains, and one must not harbor killing intent. You slowly loosen your grip on the firewood knife and slide it back into the sheath at your waist. Then you gently wave at the taken, a mountain guardian's greeting to the living creatures of the mountains. The taken seems to understand your goodwill. It flicks its ears, lowers its head to take 2 more mouthfuls of moss, then turns with steady steps and slips into the dense forest beside it. In a short while it disappears, leaving only several deep hoofprints in the snow. This encounter lends a solemn feeling of being watched by the mountains to your previously hurried mood, and also gives you an indescribable warmth. You are not a passerby in these mountains. not an outsider come to take from them. You are a person who guards this Qinling range together with these living creatures. You are all children of the mountains. You continue downward. Every time you pass an old tree, you habitually reach out and touch its trunk. Beneath the rough bark, you can feel a faint tremor in the body of the tree. That is the sound of sap slowly flowing, not some mysterious magic, but a skill you have developed after more than 20 years in the mountains. Your fingertips brush the moss on the bark, you pinch off a little and look at its color, and from that you know whether the tree has insects or rotten roots. You raise your head to inspect the crown, whether the pine needles are firm, whether there are yellowing dead branches. Then you know what is going on. This forest is the place your Li ancestors have guarded for 4 generations. Every tree has been touched by you, inspected by you, just like watching your own children grow up. You break off a small lifted piece of bark from the root and bring it to your nose. That fragrance, mixed with pine branches, earth, and rainwater, is the breath of the Qinling Mountains. Only after confirming that all the trees are sound, not stolen from, not diseased, do you continue downward with peace of mind. After turning the last bend in the mountain, the piercing mountain wind is suddenly blocked. A smell of steamers, hot air, mutton soup, livestock, and manure drifts over with the wind. Qiwu town at the foot of the mountain is like an unfolded Guangzhong folk painting. Tens of gray-tiled roofs crowd together, various shop banners hang from poles along the street. Wang's Mutton Restaurant, Zhang's General Store, Lai's Wine Workshop, and a butcher shop with a red cloth sign. Against the gray sky, they stand out clearly, the noisy calls of vendors, the braying of donkeys, the cries of children, and the hammering from the blacksmith shop drift over with the wind. They are no longer the faint echoes of the mountains, but real waves of human noise, instantly filling clean away the loneliness you had accumulated all along the mountain road. The moment you step into the entrance of town, that cold, isolated feeling from deep in the mountains is squeezed away by the bustling crowd. All that remains is lively human warmth, wrapping around you and carrying you forward. Today is the 12th day of the 11th lunar month, a market day in Qiwu town, and also the last market day before the heavy snow. Mountain people from Tenlai around, along with farmers from the villages, have all rushed to this market to stock up on New Year goods for winter and buy the things they will need once heavy snow blocks their doors. The narrow street is jammed so tightly that water could not pass through. Porters with shoulder poles, farmers pushing wheelbarrows, traders leading livestock all squeeze back and forth. Shouting and bargaining rise and fall until they make one's ears ache. You know the way well. You push through the crowd toward Zhang's General Store in the middle of the street. It is an old shop you have dealt with for more than 10 years. Old Zhang, the shopkeeper, is an honest man and never cheats mountain people. When you arrive at the entrance of the general store, you set down the back basket from your shoulders and lean it against the doorframe. From the inner pocket of your close-fitting cotton jacket, you take out a cloth bundle wrapped in oiled paper. Inside are several silver dollars and a string of copper coins. This is money you saved from selling a batch of wood ears and shiitake mushrooms some time ago, mountain goods you gathered one by one all over the mountains throughout the autumn, then dried for half a month before exchanging them. Shopkeeper Zhang is bent over the counter doing accounts. When he sees you come in, his eyes brighten, and he quickly comes forward. Li family lad, you finally came. I knew you'd come today. This snow is about to fall. If you don't stock up now, the mountains will be sealed. He takes the silver dollars you hand over, weighs them in his palm, then holds them to the light to check whether they are genuine. Then he curls his lip and points at the red price list pasted on the wall. Lad, it's not that your old brother is trying to cheat you. These days are chaotic. Prices have risen badly, and silver dollars have depreciated. With these 2 silver dollars, you can't get the things we agreed on last month. You do not waste words with him. For a mountain person like you, the real hard currency has never been silver dollars or copper coins, but solid mountain goods brought out from the mountains. You turn, squat down, lift the thatch covering the top of your back basket, and take out a cloth bundle from the very bottom. Inside are 2 properly cured fox pelts, reddish-brown and extremely smooth. You hunted them just last month. The pelts are complete, without the slightest damage. There is also a small bag of dried gastrodia, which you dug from cliff edges. Genuine wild Qinling gastrodia, evenly sized and clearly patterned. Fine goods that city pharmacies compete to buy. The moment shopkeeper Zhang sees these 2 things, his eyes go straight. He quickly takes them and turns them over and over, muttering non-stop. "Ah! Good things, truly good things. These fox pelts ladies and young misses in the city will fight over them to make collars. And this gastrodia is excellent medicine for headaches. In a year of war and chaos like this, these mountain goods are more useful than gold and silver, and hold their value better." This time he no longer mentions the depreciation of silver dollars, nor does he calculate any of those empty, muddled accounts. He turns and takes goods for you from the shelves behind the counter. 2 gin of coarse salt, 2 boxes of foreign matches, 1 gin of kerosene for the lamp, 2 pieces of coarse cloth, and a packet of needles and thread for sewing clothes. He even takes an extra small packet of brown sugar and stuffs it into your hand, smiling as he says, "Lad, this packet of brown sugar is from your old brother. On snowy days, drink it with hot water to warm yourself. In the future, if you have good things, don't forget to bring them to your old brother first." You pack everything into your back basket, and your heart feels very steady. In this world that can change at any moment, mountain people will always only trust things they can touch with their hands and see with their eyes. Only these mountain goods dug out from the great mountains can be exchanged for a whole winter of security.